So I am off to
May I ask all passengers to please take their seats now as you're
go
about
to Kamachor,
prepare for
Vaidyagrama,
Panchakarma.
to finally, after all of these years, do Panchakarma. Pancha means 5, and in this context, karma means actions. And this is a very exciting day because I've known about this opportunity to create a firm foundation in vibrant health through the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda for so long, and I just feel so lucky that here I am in July of 2019, and it's actually happening. I love you. Isn't this exciting?
Hi, loved ones. So I'm here at Vaidyagrama in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India, in the south, and I'm having Panchakarma day 4. And I was so wishing that I could have actually filmed something for you yesterday because I was in so much pain. Now, it's not the funny thing. You know, we're taught with the American medical system that if we're to get healthy, that we're most likely to find that from a chemical pill or from surgery. And here in the land of Panchakarma, I just wanted to share with you that, for instance, on day 4, I'm feeling pretty bad. I was trying to think of how to say that in a super positive way, because that's what this message is a super positive message. And that is that how happy I am, even though I don't feel fabulous. And what it is here I am in an environment where I can fully relax. I am being fed beautiful, home-cooked food that is addressed to my health conditions. I am getting Ayurvedic herbal medicine every few hours. I'm getting Ayurvedic herbal and physical treatments. Like what's been happening for the past 4 days is I've had my body rubbed with herbed medicinal oil, and then oiled water is being poured over me in a specific pattern for what feels like a really long time. It's all warm and it's soft and it smells so beautiful, and my body just cries out for this kind of stimulus in the way of, it feels so nourishing and nurtured. Like you think maybe if you could remember how you must have felt as a baby when your mother washed you, or things like that, meaning it like this really deep-seated healing of your nervous system is what it feels like when I'm on the table and the women are working on my body. And so here the treatments are so lovely and nourishing and stimulating in a way that, honestly, I've almost cried in gratitude every massage. If one calls it a massage. Again, it's an Ayurvedic medical treatment, but we can call it a massage, right? And then the women wash my hair, and they wash my body with food-based, soap and all of that, and then I'm packed back here into this beautiful abode, which is one of the places where a patient stays at Vaidyagrama. It's absolutely wonderful. I think if I could measure the square footage, it's larger than my apartment in California. So I'm feeling quite decadent. And in the midst of all of this a peacock walked by yesterday. Can you believe that? They're like wild here, and they just come onto the grounds and then they leave and stuff. It's amazingly beautiful. And it was just such a joy. All right, but my point, and I'm just about to say goodbye, is that I do feel like crap. And that is part of healing based on ancient wisdom concepts that were developed over thousands and thousands of years. And that is when you build up dysfunction, when you build up dis-ease, right? When you have both psychological trauma, just from modern culture. I mean, nobody would really peg me as like, oh, Unmani the traumatized. But if you just have to live in modern culture, when you get out of it for a little bit, you realize what a trash compactor, like Star Wars, that we live in. Because to be here and just to be able to take that deep breath and to be able to relax, and then having your body given these inputs, what happens is your body starts to release. It starts to release toxins. It starts to release all sort of, like we could call them electrical patterns, right? That have built up, neuromuscular patterns. They're working on helping to heal that last little bit of my traumatic brain injury from back in 2013, and that the way to healing often asks a lot of you. If you want to do it in a way to sustain vibrant health, where you don't end up getting addicted to chemicals, you don't end up with so much of the side effects that often happen from surgery and things that are so invasive. And so the road to health here in the Bliss verse is not always handy dandy. What was I feeling was like all of my fascia was set on fire. Yeah, I really tried to articulate it last night in the middle of the night when I was like moaning and being like, I thought, I'm going to tell my doctor I can't do the treatments for a day. I need a break, and all that stuff that goes through your mind when you're in like tons of pain. And then I thought, this is my nature. I'm like, I have to be able to describe this accurately, and all of that. And I decided it was as though all my fascia and connective tissue had been set on fire. And I just couldn't get comfortable. I mean, I'd be standing in the middle of the night in the dark, and then I'd sit, and then I'd be, and then I'd stand and sit. Yeah. And this is beautiful. It doesn't happen to everybody, so just remember, you might go and do something like Panchakarma. You might go do an ancient wisdom healing mechanism that's been done for thousands of years to find your path to health. You might not have the same experience. I don't mean to like put a cloud in the sky about any idea, but again, my thing here is just to share with you what I'm going through. And on day 4, I'm kind of on the other side of a little bit of what I think of as a mountain of agony. But I'm feeling much better today, just kind of headachy and tired. Like I just had a really bad fever, and now I'm just like, bleh. I mean, I think it's like lunchtime, and I haven't even read today at all. I've just been staring at the trees and listening to the birds and all of those things. So day 4, Panchakarma at Vaidyagrama, and I'm thinking about you, and I'm loving you so much, because one of the big reasons why I've come to do this right now is because we're getting ready to launch Bliss Revealed 2.0, the real deal, big girl business, where I'm reaching out to loved ones in the world, and that I might have the destiny to be able to chat with. I really need to be healthy for that, and so I'll climb any mountain. And I'll do anything that it takes to be sterlingly and superlatively healthy in a way that, again, leaves me in a position of being able to grow from such an authentic place of vibrancy that doesn't have anything to do with then, having to take pills or the kind of maintenance that so much, American medical care ends up getting us in that loop. All right, I love you. Bye. Hello, loved ones. So this is day 8 of Panchakarma at Vaidyagrama in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India. So as I shared with you earlier, I had an absolutely wonderful 7 days having the water and oil treatment and touch. And so today is the first day of a new kind of treatment here on day 8. And so at 6 o'clock this morning, because let me say, on the other days, I was eating herbal medicine at 6, and then a different herbal medicine after every meal. That after food medicine it was like crack. It was this fermented herbal nirvana in a tiny little cup. And let me tell you, if I could go to a bar and like order that herbal medicine, I would totally do it in like a low ball and then just like sip it for hours. Every time I drank it, my body was like, yes. So I miss it because here I am on day 8 and I'm doing something completely different. And then there would also be another medicine around 6 that was the kind of every 12 hours sort of yucky medicine. But what I'm doing now is 6 o'clock this morning, asked me not to drink in the morning, so no water. And at 6 o'clock to sit down with one of the doctors, and we would mark our intention, right, for healing together through a short prayer. And then he gave me some ghee with some medicine in it, with some herbal medicine. And the cup was only like this big. And I had this image when they were like, dude, we're gonna do ghee treatment, you know, it's all of this. I don't know, just like everything. I'm American, what can I say? I just had this image of them like giving me a quart and doing something hardcore. It's India. They gave me like this much. And I was all like, I can so totally do that. And I said to him, can I just have it all at once? And you know, or sipping, and he just, you know, you can drink it. So I, there you go, boom. Treatment for the day, done. And after about 2 hours, oh, and no food, you know, no breakfast. Again, they asked me not to drink. You eat the ghee first thing in the morning, and then they ask you, please don't, if you have to have a drink, maybe wait a couple hours and maybe just have one little sip, right? You can't dilute the experience of this medicated ghee coming in and then being digested and pulled into your tissues with the impetus of the herbal medicine, creating that I guess we could call it alchemy. And so no food. Right now it's like about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm starting to be like, because here's the thing, when you do this treatment, you do it for 7 days, and the ghee amount is just upped slowly. So apparently, I saw the doctor around 10, and I'm like, dude, it's like nothing happened. I'm feeling like I could have breakfast. Like, what's going on? Oh no, that was at like 7:30 a.m., right? So it'd been an hour and a half. And he was just like, look, just you wait. You may be feeling absolutely nothing now. You may be wishing you could have breakfast and all of that, but just wait. Half an hour later, all of a sudden I'm just like, whoa. And I had 10 minutes of feeling super sick, like heat just exploding out, weakness and shaking. So I just sat on a rug on the floor of my indoor room, right? And I went and I pooed and pooed and pooed, you know? But then 10 minutes later, boop, I was only tired from having not felt well. So that's like 8 a.m. So then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I had to eat my words. I mean, obviously I had some, you know, like health medical experience, and I definitely wasn't hungry anymore. I just like, bleh. So I've essentially laid around for the rest of the day. Here at Vaidyagrama, there are so many trees. There are so many different bird songs. And it's so peaceful. It's so quiet. And I can feel the hum of the earth and the trees. And every once in a while, a little feral kitty runs through. And it's obviously been heavily influenced by human beings because it gives a huge row, which is lovely for me because I happen to like cats. And so here you're joining me in the midst of this experience where I'm craving broth like crazy, because in this 8 days, I'll just have ghee in the morning that will get larger and larger, and then I'll have broth later in the day once the doctors are sure that the ghee has made it all the way through my system. And I keep waiting for that, right? They said it's signaled by you start burping. And so I've been sitting here staring at the beautiful trees and listening to the wind against the leaves and hearing the birds and just being like, dude, freaking burp already. Because I just want my damn soup. But my body's not cooperating. So again, it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, no burps in sight. You know, I just feel sort of bleh, but certainly not feeling sick, and feeling lucky to be sitting here in such a peaceful, natural haven, really, out here in my outdoor area of the Unmani space. So day 8, Panchakarma and having super fun. And I was told when I sort of gave feedback at 7:30 in the morning, like, hey, nothing's happening, I'm not feeling weird, I'm not, I'm hungry. The doctor said, just you wait. By the time we get to day 5, 6, and 7, you're going to be wondering if maybe you could skip a treatment day and all of that. So he said this is natural progression, that it feels a little bit, and that more of the impact on my tissues will be felt in real time as the days go by. So thank you so much for being here. And as always, I love you very much. Bye. Hello, and welcome to day 18 of Panchakarma for me at Vaidyagrama. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've recorded anything for you loved ones. And the reason for that is that I've been basically having a gigantic experience here. And wasn't really in a space to kind of break it down into concepts that could be digestible because I was busy doing it. So let's talk about treatment days since I last filmed. So, okay, today's day 18. So let's go backwards. Today's day 18, and I did something that's called purgation. And purgation, you drink a medicine, right? That's made out of a root, which is very spicy, very pungent, and a little bit sweet. And when the doctor described what the treatment would be today, which is Unmani, the doctor will come get you, because there's lots of doctors here. The doctor will come get you at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you will drink this liquid. I don't know why, the minute that he said sweet and pungent, I love spicy food. I don't usually eat it because of my body type, sweet things mixed with spicy things. I don't know, I was thinking for some bizarre reason like Chinese food, which of course it's crazy, but your mind does what it does. So I instantly was like, oh, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait for tomorrow. Well, then reality happened, where I sat down on a little bench, 6 a.m., the doctor hands me the medicine, and I have to say that it was very challenging to drink. Like, think about being like 15 years old at a party where there's young adults and teenagers, and someone offers you, oh God, Southern Comfort. Oh, just thinking about that makes me feel like, bleh, right? But maybe that 15-year-old, who's going unnamed, might actually drink it, even though it tastes like ass. This was challenging like that for me. Now remember, some people might eat it and go, oh wow, this is great, because everybody's different. But for me, it was so absolutely gross. I mean, I could barely stand it. And the doctor was really patient. It took me like 5 to 6 minutes to drink maybe just like this much. And I was actually trying to bargain with him during it, like, oh, I'm really tiny, I don't have to drink all of this, right? And I had to do the, the fist clenching on either side and all of that kind of thing, like, I'm drinking with this and clenching. So it took me like a really good long time, and but I did it. This is a fantastic way to work with gut problems, which we know from Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, the way that people have been caring for their bodies very successfully for thousands and thousands of years, right? Being able to bring out resplendent health is at the foundation of your health is in your gut. Well, what I'm doing today is I'm working with my gut, or the doctors are working with my gut, with my health. I did not barf, but I wanted to. All right. So what it's doing is it's actually cleaning, right? Because I'll tell you about the things that we did working up to it. But it's cleaning in a way that I find amazing, that I don't have that feeling of like, oh God, okay, coffee. Like, have you ever drank too much coffee by mistake? I almost never drink this stuff, but sometimes, you've drank too much coffee, and then what do you have to do? You've got to run to the bathroom, right? And boom, there goes everything that was in your intestines. and you have that feeling of being empty and sort of scorched earth emptied. Like it doesn't feel healthy. It feels like something happened that doesn't feel nourishing, right? That doesn't feel stabilizing, that doesn't feel regenerating. Well, while it is very challenging, at least for me, to drink this liquid, and it is true, okay, it's what, like 11 o'clock in the morning. I took it at 6 a.m. I have gone to the bathroom about 12 times now. And so I'm bored of it, like I'm intensely bored of going to the bathroom. But again, none of it makes me feel sick. None of it makes me feel like my body's being forced to do something. And it actually, and wonderfully feels like, like if you're going to take your arm and just like gently wash something, it feels like that. Like I actually feel like I'm doing something nourishing and something sweet and something kind to my body. And you do this only for one day. So then the previous 3 days before that, I was doing massage and steam. Ooh, like two of my most favorite things, right? I mean, there's somebody who's taking oil, right? And my skin is so desperate for these like wonderful healing herbs that my body just goes whoop. Like the woman who's massaging me, her name is Devaki. She was just like, look, she puts the oil on my leg, and then like 2 seconds later, it's like, boo, it's gone. And that's my body just eating this wonderful herbal medicine, being like, oh yes, I'm finally being given something that's so nourishing, right? And so she slathered it on me again. And so I'm getting slathered and rubbed, and I feel like a cat. Oh, who's that? Did I say the word cat? This is my little animal companion. He just showed up. And I just feel so lucky because I happen to love feline animals. Now he's feral, so this is kind of all he gets. He has to stay on his little bed. He does have ticks and fleas, so I don't hold him or anything like that. And I certainly don't feed him because you can't feed a wild animal, because then when he goes hunting at night, he'll start looking for people because he'll think of people as his source of his dinner and breakfast. So I've named him Doodad. And he is my Vaidyagrama companion feline animal, and I feel so much joy just having a little kitty to pet and to care for. So anyway, I said cat, and there we go. There's a cat. So, right. So previous to purgation, which is today, then I had 3 days of massage and steam, right? What is steam? So it's the kind where your little head sticks out, right? It's so awesome. I kept begging them to let me do it for longer because thank God there's Ayurvedic doctors, because I would have stayed in that box for like an hour and a half, which would probably be really bad for me. But you know what? It would have felt like amazing. So anyway, I do have Ayurvedic doctors here who got my back and making sure I don't do stupid stuff. And they made me get out every single day at 25 minutes, right? So I would tell the woman who's giving me the treatments, her name is Devaki, I would be like, please, can I stay longer? And she would say, no, in like a really nice way. So yeah, I would have stayed in that steam room for an hour and a half, but we need to do it for medicinal purposes, which is just all about not getting too hot, but getting hot enough. So those 3 days I found to be super fun. But get this, you may be wondering, like, Unmani, why didn't you just make a video then so that we can be updated kind of more in real time? Well, those 3 days I was having those, I was kind of recovering from a place physically and emotionally, right? Because the day before that I had a complete day off. I had no treatments. What day was that? Day 14. Right, so day 14 they didn't even give me treatments because I kind of was having an incredible experience, because what we did previous to day 14 was 5 days of what's called ghee treatment. Now remember, your Panchakarma, a friend's Panchakarma, someone else's, the other patients here, right here in there's 4 patient rooms, suites, I think I should call it, 4 patient suites. So yeah, they're having a different Panchakarma. So for me, doing ghee treatment ended up, the symptoms that come out when you are fully satiated, right? Because what you're doing is you're nourishing your tissues with medicated ghee, right? So it's not like, because of course I make ghee at home all the time, so I have my homemade ghee, everything else. It's not drinking that. What they're giving patients here who need it is ghee with herbs in it, right? With medicines that are designed to help you and your tissues to absorb these medicines in very, very deep places, right? So think of it this way. The body is relaxed and nourished with those first 7 days of the gushing, beautiful hot water and the massage, right? So you're opening and opening. And then they say, okay, now that you're all open, let's nourish those tissues, right? And let's feed them. And one of the most beautiful, satiating things that you can feed yourself are good, healthy fats. And ghee is one of the best. And so you take that ghee that the body recognizes as healthy food, and so the body goes bananas, because then not only that, it's a conduit for the medicine, right? The medicine to get in your brain, the medicine to get in your muscles, the medicine to get in your blood, the medicine to get in your tissues, right? And so all you do is drink ghee for a set amount of days, the amount of days that you need, right? So I ended up needing 5. And how that accumulated, I don't think I'm saying that right, how that all came about in its fruition, right? Sorry, I'm like way in nature and everything is just so beautiful. I barely know what day it is. So yeah, I can imagine that my English vocabulary is going, woo! And I'm in treatment, right? I've gone to the bathroom 12 times today, so let's not expect me to be a mental giant, right? Panchakarma is not all about that thinking. It's actually designed to give you the opportunity to get out of that kind of rational mindset and to be embodied, to be experiencing your physical self, right? And then navigating with the guidance of the Ayurvedic doctors to resplendent health, right? So those ghee treatments, one person might have it for 7 days, another person might have it for 5 days, right? Like me. Another person might have it for 8, that kind of thing. And so on day 5, I had the maximum amount of symptoms for being fully nourished. And they did warn me. They said, look, doing ghee treatment, right, it has a tendency to bring out like trauma patterns. So if you have repressed trauma, this has the tendency to come out when you nourish those parts of your body where you've stored that trauma away. And not literally, figuratively, right? The body's an amazing, complex organism, right, that we can't even remotely fathom at this time from a scientific perspective. But if we look at it outside of our mind and feel one with nature, we can fathom the body, but from a completely different place, right, than a linear thinking mind. So what happened in those ghee treatments, I was just like so excited to find out. Because get this one of the doctors was like, dude, I mean, not like that at all, because that's me. That's how I interpret it. This is what he said. Well, looking at your background, I can see that you have had a lot of trauma. I think you may end up getting very, very angry. And I had that feeling of like, I highly doubt it. But why say that? I felt it and I thought it to myself and I was just like, sure, maybe I will. Who knows? Because it's true, like, who knows? Maybe I would get super angry. I totally didn't. And actually what came out, so kind of sad, and I did cry quite a bit. Again, the reasons why have I not made a video for this long. The trauma that came out was my body felt like it had the worst hangover of my entire life. And as someone who started drinking habitually at 14 years old, and when I was in my teens, I would drink so much. I got alcohol poisoning. I used to black out all the time. I mean, as a teenager, I was a hardcore alcoholic. And then, even in college, I drank too much, just sort of normal college American stupidity, drinking too much. And then by the time I hit my 20s, I'd acculturated to that like normal American drinking all the time. So nobody ever said like, oh, Unmani, you're an alcoholic. It wasn't like that. But I self-identify as an alcoholic, I feel incredibly accurately, because it stymied my emotional development. It stymied my ability to get to know myself and love myself. Do you know? Because I'd use it as a buffer. I'd use it as a number. And get this, here in Panchakarma, of all the wealth of things that could come out. Yeah. My ghee treatments manifested as being so hungover that I wanted to, well, not wanted to die, because that's an incredible exaggeration, but I was miserable. I mean, I could barely move. You know, the people who work here were like, whoa, you know, I had to ask for help at one point, and I'm like walking down the hallway and I'm actually touching the wall just to make, you know, just moving so slowly. My head felt like someone split it in half. My stomach hurt more than I can ever remember it hurting, like from a physical memory place. And that would make me cry, because physically I couldn't bring up, like, what's a hangover feel like? Because it's just been so long, I just, you know, I don't remember. But having it, I felt like a child again. I felt like a wounded, damaged child who didn't know how to love herself. And so she poisoned herself over and over and over again. And so I just had to relive all of that on top of the feeling like it. So I felt like ass. And so after ghee treatment and having that day of just the worst hangover of my entire life, they gave me the day off. I didn't even have treatment. Get this, I still feel completely hungover. You know, I used to drink so much in my teens that once in a blue moon, I would be hungover the next day and still hungover that day after. So we're literally talking like, go out and get so drunk. I must have had alcohol poisoning. I mean, I must have. Go out and get drunk, go to bed, wake up and feel like death, you know, vomit, like just be so sick you want to die. You know, all of that kind of stuff. Go to bed feeling like death, wake up in the morning, still feel like crap. Not even like normalizing and feeling like you can eat and feeling like your stomach, whatever, until like the afternoon of like the second day. So yeah, they gave me the day off, thank God. You know, because I needed it. And so do you see, Panchakarma, where does true healing come from? It does not only come at you in a unidimensional way. Okay, I'm having these hormone problems. Let's treat these hormone problems. It looks at the entirety of your experience from a place of emotion, from a place of physical symptoms. The Ayurvedic doctors here went through all of my medical tests that I've taken in the last couple of years being so ill, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And they put all of that together. And then the herbal medicines, the like nature out there, informing nature in here, reminding it how to be healthy. That not only are my tissues healing, but my heart is healing. And my mind is healing. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. And I'm so sorry that when I was so sick, I would have loved it. If I had somebody here, like if Ajit was here and he could film me being that sick and just talking for a couple minutes, just to give you an idea that you can live through it, you can do it, you know, but all of that, I would do it. But just when I was that sick and going through that much, I'm sorry, I just really couldn't set up the camera and make a go for it. But I hope that just kind of telling you the story of these last, how many days is that, week and a half or whatever, I hope that that has some value to you in helping to create an image, an understanding of what is this amazing ancient wisdom that's available for us today. In lots of places all over the world. There are Ayurvedic doctors in America that do Panchakarma. Here in India at Vaidyagrama, there's a whole Panchakarma, like I'd like to say industry, but that's sort of not remotely the word I mean. In Kerala, here in India, you know, there's Panchakarma clinics in Europe, and I'm sure all over the world. All right. Love you. Dude, Dad loves you too. Hello. So today is day 31 of Panchakarma here at Vaidyagrama, and it's been incredible. I mean, I can't believe that I've already been here for a month, and so we're wondering, like, incredible. What does that mean? So what I've been doing for the last couple days is something which is given a very nice word in Sanskrit, right? Because this is treatments that have been done for thousands of years, and called basti, which is a treatment that I've never done before, or in a sense had done to me. And I have to say I'm almost feeling kind of shy, like expressing, but I'm going to pretend that I'm one of the doctors and just tell it like it is. Basti is giving someone medicine directly into their colon and nether regions, right? And so we would call it an enema. Now, sometimes people say, oh, enema, you know, that was used by like chemical and surgery doctors years ago and it's been discounted and stuff. But the thing that I want you to understand is that this isn't that. This is actually something where, again, if you put something in your mouth through your digestive system, well, it actually has to deal with your digestive system. So it might, in a sense, you know, get retranslated as it works through your body and not get the desired effect that the Ayurvedic doctors are looking for down in your guts, right? Because we all know now how important our guts are. And I've been having a reoccurrence of my childhood autoimmune disease and, you know, all sorts of things that have made, you know, basically every doctor that's been supporting me for the last year and a half, and especially here at Vaidyagrama, say, okay, what we really need to do is help give your innards the medicine that they need to be able to heal. And so that's what they've been doing. And I have to say that, you know, I grew up in New England 30 years ago, and so maybe it's not the same today, but, you know, there's kind of a puritanical cultural background to where I grew up. And when they told me, you know, this process and how this was going to go, I have to say that I was just like, I can't even imagine that feeling normal. I can't even imagine that like almost feeling acceptable, you know, and that kind of thing. And so the first time that we were going, I had a little blanket shawl on and I just took it and put it over my face because I was just feeling so like kind of embarrassed and flustered and having these feelings like I can't do this, and you know, why, I know this is so good for me. I can just feel my body calling out for this healing, but just the whole process, I wish I could have done it to myself at that time. And I'm happy to be able to report that at least the doctors here at Vaidyagrama, you know, they have male doctors that work on men, they have female doctors that work on women, and the doctor actually has completely normalized this process, just the way that like anything else you might have ever experienced if you're in pain and you've ever gone to a hospital or different things like that. You know, the doctor just kind of takes over and kind of sweeps you up in an experience of just how normal and how pleasant this is going to be as much as possible. So what happens is the first thing in the morning, right before you have breakfast, they give you a beautiful oil massage. So we've talked about how the traditional Ayurvedic, just plain old oil massage is so relaxing. And again, it goes into a pattern that just speaks to your nervous system of like, oh, this is amazing, right? So they do that first. Let's start the day off right. And then they give you the treatment, again, in an environment where everybody's being so professional and acting like this is the most normal thing in the world. And it's like, you know, 2 minutes and it's over. And the first one in the morning has herbal medicine in it, right? Things that your guts absolutely need to kind of start the healing process. And then they ask you to go back and eat your breakfast right away, right? And everything's pretty much normal. And then, but you're tired. See, this is a strange thing. I would never think like, okay, somebody's messing around with my nether regions and giving medicine, you know, in an orifice that I'm not accustomed to. It didn't even occur to me. Yeah, it made me really tired. They said, yeah, that's like just the way it goes for almost everybody. They just conk out. And so then you spend the morning just kind of resting and conked out a little bit. And then in the afternoon, you eat a meal, and then they do a second procedure, right? A second enema, but just like not nearly as big a deal because there's a lot less volume because it's not medicine. It's actually, well, I mean, it is medicine because there's a little bit of herbal medicine in oil. So they're actually just putting, you know, a small amount of oil into your guts so that that can reach your colon And for somebody with my body type, that's like a super wonderful, nourishing thing. Because again, I can drink all the ghee or, all the oils and good things, to have healthy fats in my life. But by the time they get down to your colon, they've been changed by your digestive system. And so, think of it this way. It's as though you're able to like take your colon out, boop, so that the like inside is exposed, and just oil that. And then they just have to do it in a way that, again, makes people from, like me, who have a little bit of like a factor about it, feel a little bit self-conscious. But again, it's something that my body calls for and doesn't resist. And that they ask you, we'd like you to hold on to that as soon as you can, for as long as you can. Right? So you just lie down and relax. I've been listening to some Harry Dresden books on audiobook by James, spoken by James Marsters. And so that's been nice, during this time of just sort of laying around and processing medicine in kind of a brand new way. And so I did that yesterday, which is treatment day 30, today, day 31, and tomorrow day 32. So 3 days of Basti treatment, and so far so good. Again, I had kind of all of these fears. What was this going to be like? Is this going to be like a really nightmare 3 days? And I have to say that the doctors here at Vaidyagrama have made it very easy, and I can report that my innards are feeling fantastic. Part of my whole metabolic collapse has been just watching my body basically turn into Jabba the Hutt. And here at day 31, like so much, it's like a forest fire has gone through in like a really positive way. And I can feel like a lot of the like leftover garbage from my body not working right. I can just feel it all leaving. And then all of this beautiful nourishing medicine coming in, it's just making me feel like my body is turning into like this beautiful springtime, deliciousness of health. And this process, as much again as it's a little bit unusual in my medical experience, it's something that has been done for thousands and thousands of years, and now I can say I realize why, because my body is saying that it's fantastic. Thanks so much. Goodbye from me and Doodad. Hi, loved ones. Well, today is day 37 of my Panchakarma experience here at Vaidyagrama in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu in India. And it's actually a very special day here in the way that it is Indian Independence Day. So this morning started with waking up in a beautiful warm morning and hearing the faint sound of music, just the tiniest little blush of it. And so I put on some clothes and I walked up to the reception and said, what is this music? Where is it coming from? And he said, there's a temple in town. And they're having a huge celebration for the Mother Goddess to celebrate Indian independence with gratitude and joy and all of that. And so I stood there at the entrance to Vaidyagrama for a little while, just enjoying the distant sound of a whole bunch of people having a great big party in the dark before dawn of today. And so I have my flag, and here at Vaidyagrama they had a beautiful ceremony where they raised a flag. It had been folded, and when the flag got to the top it unfurled and all these beautiful flowers came out. And they had a professional singer who sang the most beautiful song. I couldn't help it. I had to put my face down because I just started crying, because it was just, to have all of these people around and memorializing, something so beautiful because your country is your home, it's your safe harbor, it's part of what made your body, right? I mean, it's such an endemic part of who you are, and to have all of these people just celebrating so beautifully with gratitude and joy. It was a wonderful way to start day 37 for me in Panchakarma. But what happened after that? What have I been doing for the past couple days? And get this, I've been having a treatment that is the most hilarious medical treatment I've ever had in my entire life. And I totally love it. And today was the last day, and I told the therapist, which is what they call the people, you might think of them as nurses or something like that, the people that give the treatments. I was just saying, I'm so sad this is our last day. So what we were doing was, now I have talked about massage in the past, right? Because we had the water massage and then we had the oil bath. And those two that I had for 7 days each had a certain pattern, right? Like, you know, you're sitting and they do your scalp and your face. And then you sit up on the treatment table, and while you're sitting up still, you know, they do your body with the oil or what have you. And then they have you lie down, and they do a pattern of the medical treatment, right? The medicine that they're using. So one time water, another time oil. This time, you won't believe it. It was the coolest thing in the world. I couldn't believe it. When they said, we're going to do this, I said, do it, have at it. This is going to be awesome. They took fresh raw milk that had herbal medicine in it, and then cooked rice that has medicine in it in an organic cloth poultice, right? Like around the size of a softball is how it starts. And they take, and again, it's the same system, right? Where you have the two people who do the treatment on either side of your body simultaneously, and then you have the person who's keeping things warm that need to be kept warm, right? And so in tandem, they're all working together, and sometimes they whisper a little bit in Tamil, you know, the language here, and it's just so pretty. And you can hear the birds outside, you can hear the wind in the trees, you know, the days that it's been raining, you hear the rain, all of that. It's just incredible. And so they take this poultice that has been warmed in the milk, right? So it's soaked in warm milk. And then they run it over your body in that exact same pattern that they used with the oil. You know, for me, that was done in the beginning. And the water. And then they did it for the oil bath, right? So the same pattern, you know, first you're the way that we talked about, and then after that you lay on your back, and then they do both sides that way. Then they have you turn in one direction so that they're doing your back while you're kind of on your side, you know, sort of. It's so comfortable. It's like the most relaxing thing. And And here's why I term this treatment that I've been having for the last 5 days as completely hilarious and totally fun, was because as the milk and the medicine and the rice all merge together, it actually creates something of a substance which reminds me of pudding. So when we started doing it, I couldn't help it. I just started laughing and laughing because I'm actually being healed with medicine that is just like pudding. And it just tickled my funny bone like crazy. I mean, I'm somebody who can make just about anything funny. That's just my nature, right? I mean, you know, trying to stop me being like that would be like trying to have me not have curly hair or something. And so I think that the poor women who were giving me the treatment might have been a little disconcerted, because I just kept laughing through the whole entire thing, because especially when I'd need to rotate so that they could treat other areas of my body with the medicine, you know, I'd slip and slide a little bit, and occasionally I'd exaggerate it just because it was so fun, you know. And at first, the first time, I think the gals thought it was actually going to fall off the table or be awkward, and then they caught on that I was doing this on purpose. You know, and one day I made little angel on the, right? Because, you know, if you rotate like this in pudding, you're going to end up like just with a snow angel or whatever. So I have enjoyed this treatment in the way that it's been completely and totally fun, while at the same time doing incredible things. So what incredible things does this treatment do, you might ask? Well, I have to say that after the first day of treatment, I said to the doctor that comes and talks to me every morning, I talk to like 3 or 4 doctors a day here, right? They're just checking and rechecking and calibrating and, you know, adjusting, and, you know, they're literally changing things right down to like, okay, what are you going to have to eat for your next meal? To make sure that everything, as your body changes, as you are starting to heal through these medical treatments, are the medicines that are being given and introduced, and we know food is medicine as part of all of that, is all of that being a cohesive thing, meeting my moment-to-moment experience. So I'm literally like, you know, I feel sometimes like I might, if I, you know, burped or something, that maybe a doctor would put their head around the corner and be like, are you okay? You know, or something like that. So I was talking to my first doctor of the day in the morning, and I just said, oh my God. And I just went on about how much I loved the treatment, how hilarious it was, and I'm, being rubbed with pudding. And I have to say that the poor doctor looked kind of nonplussed. And so I just waited for a minute because I'm thinking he seems almost disconcerted here. And he just looked at me and said very quietly, after a moment's hesitation, Unmani, just to let you know, there is a lot of medicine in that milk, and there is a lot of medicine in that rice, and that this is a very serious treatment for part of your symptoms that has been done for thousands of years. We have people that come to Vaidyagrama who have paralysis that get healing here using that treatment. And I said, oh my God, I'm sorry, please don't interpret the fact that I'm having a ball in there with the therapist, making a game out of it. Please, don't think that I mean to be disrespectful. I mean, I get the fact that this is really serious stuff, and I know I've been really seriously sick and all of that, and I honor the fact that this isn't something trite. And so he accepted that explanation, and we all had kind of a good smile. And so that was really nice. So there's so many things about Panchakarma which can be challenging, right? And I've talked a little bit about those. And then there can be lots of things in Panchakarma which can be absolutely a fun festival. The after food medicine. It's this fermented medicine. Anyway, so they've took me off that, and I'm already sad. And this was my last day of that amazing, what I would think of in a respectful way as the super fun pudding treatment, right, which helps rebuild musculature and your nervous system after there's been wasting or injury. So they've also been doing another treatment in tandem, right? Because it's not unusual that they'll do one or two different treatments along with the food and along with just the little medicine that you might be taking in a cup. So the other thing I've been doing is first thing in the morning, I've been getting a treatment called Nasya. And Nasya is also super fun. I don't know what it was. I just had a week of we're just going to make Unmani be laughing all the time. So I go into the treatment room, and the therapist makes my face all super warm with a steaming towel, like over and over again. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and just like, oh my God, this feels so good. Keep doing this. And so, everything gets warmer and warmer. And then she massages your face, right? For Nasya treatment, everybody gets this massage on their face. And then the doctor comes in and actually puts drops of an herbal medicine in your nose. And this is one of the couple of treatments that I'm getting to help heal the last vestiges of injury from my traumatic brain injury back in November of 2013. Right, so it's been a while, and I've always kind of hovered around 90%, and we're just taking care of that last 10% now, which is yay! And so that medicine goes in and goes into your sinus passages, which of course are right at your brain, and is very healing and very powerful. My body absolutely loves it. The doctor says, for a lot of people, the medicine will actually go back down your sinus cavity, and you end up having to spit it out a lot. I'm sorry, that medicine just is gone. It's not coming out anywhere. And so it's 6 drops here, 6 drops there, breathe it in, and then you sit up, the doctor leaves. So you're like, okay, see you later. And then you're still there with the therapist, right, on the treatment table. And the therapist has you, get this one, she lights what, I have to be candid, kind of looks like a doob. Right? She lights what looks like a doob. And then she says, I need you to sniff this, right? The smoke. I'm like, well, I guess I can do this, right? I mean, I have this skill set from back when I was a teenager, so let's use it for the good of my brain. And so you smell the smoke, blow out, smell the smoke through your nostrils, blow out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, whatever. After that, you gargle, and you're done. And I just find all of that to be an absolutely super fun thing that just leaves me laughing all the time. I asked one of the doctors that comes and sees me often in the afternoon, and I said to him, because I was just dying to know, what is that smoke? Is it something inert that's just helping the medicine drops, sink in, or what? And he was like, no, get this, amazing. They take ghee, right? So they take clarified butter, which is like super good for you and used in a lot of Ayurvedic medicines, with turmeric, right, which we know is a massively awesome anti-inflammatory. And Indians are very lucky that just based on the way that the history of their cuisine has evolved, turmeric is in like all their food. So yay for them, super lucky. And so they put turmeric in this ghee and then they dry it like in the sun and all of that. And so you're actually smelling the smoke of dried medicine. Yeah. So it's literally like, you know, liquid medicine with being in drop form, and then smoke medicine. And I have to tell you, I mean, my brain feels better. Like there was a party with the flag raising that I talked about when we started. And all these people have their mobile phones around, and I was just ready to have the headache, right? You know, I mean, obviously living in the Bay Area, I mean, there are just times where I just have to give up and be like, whoa, I'm going to get my brains blasted out and have a little headache, whatever. And so I was just ready for it, to be able to have a good time and be part of that celebration. And my head didn't hurt. So I'm just like, wow, I think this stuff is amazing. So on day 37, I've been having an absolute blast for all of these days. It has been wonderful. My body is feeling fantastic. I've already been doing like some football exercises here. Like I've been going back and forth in my porch, like grapevining and, you know, doing the hip exercises and the kicks and all of that kind of stuff. And I have to say, I mean, I have 2 more weeks of Ayurvedic medical treatments to go. And I feel like I'm just ready to go and play football every day for at least a month, because being so sick, I've missed it a lot. So I hope that that this is helpful information, and I'm thinking about you, loved ones. And I really appreciate you being interested in Vaidyagrama and the ancient healing medicines and treatments that are here and available through Ayurveda, lasting over thousands of years. I love you. Hi. So today is day 28 at Vaidyagrama, Panchakarma for me, and I almost can't believe that I get to describe the treatments that I've been experiencing as magical. So magical. What does that mean? Today is day 28 because oh, isn't that awesome? They actually use this as natural insect control. And I have to tell you, right, so we're in Tamil Nadu, which is in southern India, and it's summer, right? It's August. And there's been like almost no flies and almost no mosquitoes. And think of it, they just went by with all that smoke, nobody's coughing, nobody feels sick, because they're just actually burning a plant that, that has been used for ages and ages to repel insects. So yay! But anyway, so to get back what my experience has been for these couple days, right, since I've last filmed. The reason why it's taken me so long is not like last time, where what I was experiencing was, you know, kind of a profundity of things coming up and processing in a big way. Get this, I've actually just been feeling so relaxed and so joyous that I've been so immersed in what I've been doing that I haven't filmed. So it's kind of the opposite in a way. So what has been happening is, because 7 days of something that's called oil bath. And I don't think that I can give its proper due in talking about it. All I can say is if you ever have the opportunity to have an oil bath in the Ayurvedic ancient tradition, all I can say is absolutely do it, right? So I had one treatment day of oil bath, and then we had to take 3 days off because I was having my lady time of the month. And when you're in Panchakarma and you're in a series of medical treatments, when you do have your lady time, they actually cease all medicine and everything else, because the idea is respecting your body's need to kind of go through its natural rhythms and not to be also introducing these deep and healing treatments at the same time, giving your body too much to do. And so I took 3 days off doing that, and then 6 days of absolute nirvana. So remember how I talked about in the beginning that I had 7 days of the water bath, where it was two people who had just constantly refilled hot water after oil had been put on my body, and that the oil was smoothed over me while both of them in a matching pattern were massaging my entire body with this constant, like, I want to say shower, but the only thing is that doesn't do it justice, because it's not like standing in your shower at home in the bathroom and having it pound down on you. It's this incredibly gentle, just, I want to say wave, but to me that implies too much. It's like this such a gentle, it's like having silk just slowly put over, that's warm, right? So oil bath is a mirror to that same program of the water bath, right? So what that means is you have one person who's sitting there and making sure that the oil is always warm, that gets put into the containers with the spout, and then you've got the whole same regimen. And this oil bath, I almost can't describe what it felt like in the way of you're lying on your side and the person is putting oil going down your back, right? And as it goes down, my whole nervous system, I felt like I was releasing years and years and years of built up tension. I mean, it was incredible. There were times in the first few days that I'd be getting tears in my eyes. I mean, and this is joyful tears. This is grateful tears. This is like gratitude just pouring out of me because of this impetus helping my body and my nervous system relax. So I've literally haven't filmed because I've been in heaven. It's just been incredible. So Ayurvedic, ancient healing, oil bath. I really literally almost feel like a new person. And so maybe I'm being incredibly hyperbolic when I say that I've been in nirvana and that oil bath treatment in Panchakarma is magical, but I hate to say it, I kind of don't think so. So I hope that you're doing well and that this information has value to you. I love you. Bye-bye. Hey, loved ones. So today is day 44 of my Panchakarma experience here at Vaidyagrama. Well, what have I been doing all of these days? What's up with my do? I've been having a treatment for the last 7 days, which I would only describe in simplicity as profound. I've been having basically a foundational Panchakarma treatment called Shirodhara. So this treatment involves your whole body, but is mostly focused on your head. So how does the treatment start? With the oil massage. So you have the two therapists, each doing one half of your body simultaneously in that same pattern, so that you're just completely relaxed and happy. And then they want to keep you snug as a little bug in your body for the rest of the treatment, which is focused on your forehead. So you're lying down, like today, to just get all snug and warm. One of the therapists had actually warmed a blanket for me to lay on top of, and then a blanket to put on top of me. And so there I am, I'm all massaged, I'm all like super warm. And the treatment table, at the head of the treatment table, there's a part where there is that for Shirodhara, they actually pull you to the head of the table in that special part, which has a hole in the bottom so that the oil, right, so we'll explain that in a minute, the oil that goes on your forehead and above your hairline actually is then able to drip through the table into a pan so that they can continue rotating it. Right? Because we've got 2 or 3 therapists all at work at once to make this work seamlessly. So here at Vaidyagrama, they do things the old school way. And so what that means is suspended from the ceiling is a wooden bowl, right? There is some cloth threads that are hanging from the hole at the bottom of the bowl, right? Because they don't want to suspend a bowl high above your head and then have oil just like beating out of it, right? Gravity, by the time it hits your forehead, it's actually hitting your forehead. That's not the point. So that there are some cloth threads that come down to kind of ease the oil so that by the time it's on your forehead, it's just gently caressing. I was told that that classically, the preference is to have the oil at room temperature. But I personally found that to be a little bit cold. Those who know me know I'm a bit of a cold bug. And I requested that the oil be warm. And the doctors here, said that that would be absolutely fine after monitoring what my version of warm was and giving it 2 thumbs up. So thank goodness for that, right? So you've got one therapist who's sitting there making sure that the oil is all taken care of, and for me it's warmed, and that goes right in the top in the wooden bowl, and then it comes down. And the other therapist is just moving the bowl very, very slowly so that it can go across your forehead and then above your hairline and over your forehead. And they do vary it. I mean, thank God, because it's not the kind of thing that's going to drive you bananas, right? And then sometimes there are pauses while they're filling the oil or different things like that. So how my body responded to this was, and why did I use the word profound to describe it? Was, think of it, I was just laying on a wooden treatment table without bolsters or anything else, and through almost all of the treatment I would barely move, because the relaxation that I experienced in that treatment, it was almost as though a sensation of calm just traveled down my spine and then outwards in my spine to my whole body. I almost never had to move or do whatever. And the treatment times started on the first day here, and then it would escalate and get longer. And my response to the treatment felt only deeper and more profound as the days went by. In other treatments that I've had in the past, I've had different responses to the therapist when I leave and say goodbye and thank you. And so, some of them, like one of them, the oil bath, right? Nirvana, the oil bath, I would want so badly almost to hug them, just because of the relief that my body felt of tension, and again, just this incredible sense of happiness that came from it, from a sense of relief. I'm giving them practically the big hugs and just huge and kind of probably overblown, like, thank you, that was amazing, right? And then after the rice and milk treatments, which made me so playful, right? I was high-fiving and being like, that's incredible, and all of that. After these Shirodhara days, I've been kind of lucky to just mumble out a quick thank you, and then just sort of walk back, because the feeling that it gave me is in a rough ballpark. I'm not saying it brings this on or anything like that. It's in a rough ballpark of what I would feel after a deep meditation. Just not wanting to fill my life with words, not wanting to read, not wanting to socialize, not wanting to do anything other than just feel the steady, calming presence of myself in my body. So these last 7 days have been, I would say relaxing, but that to me sounds almost a little trite in comparison with what I've been experiencing. I have had a tiny challenge because, as you might know, I have an enormous amount of hair. You add a whole bunch of oil to that, and I have had to bug the staff quite a bit, being like, can I please have another towel? So I've been like the towel hound for the past 7 days, and things like that. But most of the time, I have just, I've actually put earphones in my ears and then not played anything. Which is funny because I'm sitting here on my little private porch, but even then I would just feel wanting to have even another buffer to allow myself the space for some non-doing. And I feel so much gratitude for this very different treatment and its profundity here towards the end of my Panchakarma experience. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share with you what I've been doing for the past week. I love you very much. Bye. Hey, loved ones. So today is basically the end of my Panchakarma experience. It's day 50. So lots to talk about, right? Because this is the last thing. I've even made like little lists and stuff. And one of the things that I wanted to let you know is the most extraordinary experience that I've had over the last couple days. So after we finished the Shirodhara, which was the treatment, right, of typically cool oil on your forehead and above your hairline. So that finished on day, I think, 45. And then I had to take 3 days off because, as we talked about before, when you have your time of the month, there is no Panchakarma. So then, in the midst of that 3 days off, after the Shirodhara, out of the blue, I had an intense reliving of the physiological trauma of my head injury playing football, right? World football, as in like go USA, right? American women, we're #1 in the world for football. Go girls! So that injury I got in November of 2013. So 6 years ago, I was hurt. And then, you know, we understand the idea of fight or flight, the fact that our body will repress certain information during times of trauma. And it's not always so much like, oh, while I was being chased, I tripped and fell, and then I sprained my ankle, but I didn't feel it because I was being chased. You know, that's a very literal example of when the body says, I can't take that message right now. I'm going to pretend that it's not being given. There are so many other more subtle times that the body says, you know what, I'm not going to be able to process this trauma, so I'm going to give you cognitive dissonance, right? I'm going to just like rewrite over the software of that moment so that you never go to that file, you know, to use the analogy of a computer. And what I never knew, because when I came here, I still, you know, I was like 10% left over in the way that if I closed my eyes, I would still feel a sense of being in my brain, like the memory of what that felt like to have basically all the blood rushed, you know, through centrifugal force on to one side of my head. So what happened to me here was I'm starting to relax into a few of, you know, one of those no treatment days after stimulating my cranium, basically, and like the most incredible sensation of the trauma coming out, it was identical. So it was as though someone here at Vaidyagrama had come up to me and taken a football and go like this. So my outer cartilage all hurt, you know, everything got inflamed. There was like a day or two where my cranium and my jaw were just so sore, and I could feel the bones where there had been that contact from the ball. And my inner ear just swelled like crazy. Like I said, the outer ear for the first, you know, day, 2 days, super hurt. All right, so maybe that sounds like a bummer of a story, but to me this is extraordinary and this is joyful. Because if that trauma pattern is coming out here at Vaidyagrama, that is my body's way of saying, thank you so much for caring for me so deeply and getting me just the right medicine, just the right care, just the right environment, so that this pattern, which my body has been storing and hence does have an effect on how my metabolic processes can work, either efficiently or inefficiently. We know that the trauma patterns that you store can have a huge effect in a very negative way, in ways that aren't even direct, and make you say, like maybe I never got totally over that concussion from a tissue basis. Right? Sometimes it will come out and make your digestion bad or just different things like that. So this has been an opportunity that I never foresaw. It has been an experience that I didn't read books, I didn't do anything. I just sat outside, right, on my porch, so, heavily enclosed, and I just connected in thinking with all of this beautiful environment, with the sky, with the earth, with all the trees. And then I just imagined that my whole body, and obviously especially the left side of my head, I just imagined it as rainbow white light. So during all of these 4 days of this experience of essentially reliving the physical tissue and bone trauma from an accident 6 years ago, it hurt a lot and was wonderful. So obviously the doctors were like, whoa, they didn't see this coming either, because a body's just like a endless birthday in the way that they don't ever know exactly what's going to come out. And this is why in Panchakarma they're reassessing on what feels like almost an hour-to-hour basis, but at least a daily basis, the direction of where your treatments are going. So they said, oh, okay, we're not going to, this started during the 3 days of no treatment. Well, they have to give me medicine to help something that's a pretty big deal, especially because it hurts so much. And so what they did was they took herbal medicine, and just like for the nasya, they lit it on fire, right, so that it makes this medicinal smoke, and they actually smoked the outside and the inside of my ear, and it felt fantastic. And so medicinal. Do you know what I'm saying? In the way that I'm like, oh my God. I'm just, I want some medicine here. And within 2 minutes of just having the treatment done, I already felt extraordinary relief of the pain. And then they asked me to take this little blue pill where I was like, yo, dude, no chemicals. This is a bastard of nirvana here, buddy. Not into that. And the doctor was all confused, and he was like, no chemicals. Herbal, Ayurveda medicine. And so I've always seen Ayurveda medicine looking like a plant, right, where it's been dried or different things like that. So you drink it as tea, the million ways we've talked about. It goes in oil, blah, 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 but you can see it like that. Well, the people at Vaidyagrama have access to, I don't know if they make it or if they get it from another resource, but for these little blue pills, and it just, it enabled me to be present, but it didn't make me numb in the way that like chemical medicine, like sometimes you're like, yay, the pain's gone. But I hate to tell you, so's your experience. So's your contact with that. I love my life, even when it hurts. And so I want to be participatory in it and completely as present as possible. And so both the pill medicine, and I'm forgetting one of the best parts. The third thing that they just gave me the pill medicine at night. The third thing that they'd have me do is after smoke, they would give me this bitter herbal medicine to gargle. And they'd give me this, it would be very warm, and they'd give me what feels like this gigantic amount. And so you're like gargling and gargling. But the only thing is, I basically had massive whiplash from that football hitting my head. And so much of the pain was in my jaw and in my inner throat and in the base of my skull back here. And when I did that gargling, it really felt like it was affecting in a positive way, like the eardrum and all that inner stuff. And so the journey, here I'm on day 4 of that experience, and it's basically over. I don't really have pain. There's just still a sensation in there. It doesn't feel identical to my right side, but today, no smoke, no need for gargling. I didn't even take the blue pill last night because, why take herbs if you don't need to? And so that has been my journey, and I have 2 days left. And what they did for me yesterday, because the pain had decreased to the extent that I could kind of stand to have another treatment. So yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Friday, they'll give oil massage. And again, we don't want to think of this as just some sort of like toss off, whatever, massage, I'll just massage myself. There is medicine in the oil. And especially because there's so many changes. And herbal medicine is not like one of those kind of things. It goes in, and yes, sometimes like with the smoke and the gargling, I did get instantaneous relief and a very fast trajectory of healing, an incredibly complex injury pattern. Yay for that. But on the other hand, the effects of Panchakarma can take months for your body to totally demonstrate, right, the fruition of all the hard work that you did, that the doctors did, that the therapists giving the treatments did, right, in creating a new opportunity of being alive in this new body. So definitely didn't see that coming. Have absolutely had a blast with how intense and that is, and feeling almost like a new person. Like my whole head, my whole neck, and all of that. Like I never even knew that was there. And I spend a lot of time practicing self-awareness and being in my body and not numbing out. So this is what I love about being alive, right? Infinite possibilities and never-ending surprises. So since this is the last time that I'm going to film, I just wanted to share a few things in case you're thinking about, Panchakarma, Vaidyagrama. Maybe I'm going to do something like that to take care of my body. So what do you do in between getting treatments while you're in Panchakarma? Ideally, they do not want you on the internet or making phone calls or just kind of leading your regular everyday life. Because the concept behind that is this is not your regular everyday life, right? Because in your regular everyday life, there's stressors, there's a way of operating where you're kind of in your mind, and there's a certain tenor to what you're asking your metabolism to respond to. Right? There's a way to, get your get up and go, get your game face on, right? Like all of that is the stuff in your day. Oh, why am I wearing a blanket on my head? Sorry, I forgot to lead with that, because my extraordinary experience. One of the doctors here, and I've been having like a tiny early morning power struggle because he wants me to stay inside. And I'm the kind of person that I'm 99% of the time, I'll always want to be outside, always. And especially if I'm sick or whatever. And he's just like, really sorry, gal, you've been having some ear problems. And, if I look in the textbook, that indicates we want best results for you. And best results are you got to get indoors. And I've been really nice about it as much as I can, about being a good listener and, affirming expertise. And the conversation ended all 3 days with me being like, yeah, no, I'm not going inside. I'm going to stay out here in this lovely, lovely enclosed porch. And so this was my compromise because I try not to be an ass, right? I mean, this is someone giving me phenomenal expertise based on years of experience and tons and tons of training that are beyond my ken. And so this was my acknowledging the care and the good faith that the doctor, this particular doctor, was demonstrating in trying to shoo me inside. So this is me keeping my head warm, my little ears warm. All right. So that's why I have a blanket on my head. What do you do in Panchakarma? You do what you need to do. So if you come here for 2 weeks, you come here like me for 2 months, you come here for 4 months. Let's say that you're one of those who could do something like that in your life. My guess would be is that you need to have some activity, right? Because that's a long time to just sustain focus and attention on your body. And so this, ta-da! These are all the books, because there's no more reading. I get too much to do before I leave. These are all the books that I read in 2 months. And so my rule for myself is I tried not to read before noon, so that I would spend from 6 a.m. till noon just, again, listening to the trees, feeling the hum of the earth, watching life go by a little bit, because you've got the therapists doing their job. And just really being with myself. And again, it doesn't have to be all like austere and like, and then I was in meditation. I wasn't. I sat, I relaxed, I felt joy. I felt what was happening in an overarching sense from the tenor of the treatments I was getting at the time. And then, after I'd have lunch about 1 o'clock, lots of days, I'd break out a book. All of these books are just joyful, silly things. It's, nothing that I'd write down, nothing I'd feel like I'd have to learn or memorize, nothing that triggered Bliss Revealed. I've got to go get my Bliss Revealed thoughts. I mean, I had lots of those just sitting on my own or with Doodad the cat as company. But these books I brought as sheer entertainment. And a lot of times that's recommended from what my friends have said. Of course, you can bring video and be able to watch TV shows and movies. I didn't do that, not really into that. I really wanted to be here. Of course, you can make phone call after phone call. Definitely didn't do that. Not going to do that. I didn't even email while I was here because I just wanted 100%, every single molecule, every single moment of attention that I possibly can. I wanted to be completely here, completely in this opportunity for healing. So that's a bit harsh. And so just to let you know, I'm just sharing so that you can know what I did. But, you want to sit here and watch maybe every single Buffy episode and then every single Angel episode and then, I don't know, a whole bunch of movies. It's not bad. It's not bad. You do what you want to do. But ideally, you're doing what enables your nervous system to be in a new state, in a state of not being stimulated by the outside world as much as you can. Okay, and the books in the background, if you can see, those are all the ones that I brought in my suitcase that I didn't read. Obviously, I had book anxiety. I was afraid that I'd be looking for stimulation and not have a healthy outlet. What are some other things to share? The food here at Vaidyagrama is crazy good. I mean, we're talking just phenomenal. Dr. Ramanandan is going to talk to us about where all of the parts of the food, meaning where do all the vegetables come from? Where does the milk come from? Where does the medicine come from? So Dr. Ramanandan is going to speak to that. But just as someone who slurped up, 3 meals a day, a snack and a tea, this has been the best food of my life. And I'm not exaggerating. That isn't like an Unmani, I'm just saying it. I'm totally not saying it. It is crazy delicious. Some of the treatments, they have you on what they call restricted diet, right? So I have normal diet and restricted diet. Restricted diet was fantastic. Not one day did I be like, oh my God, I'm on restricted diet, I'm starving, this food sucks. All the things that I was maybe open to as a possibility of experiencing, no way. I'm going to take some pictures and I'm hopefully showing those to you right now while I chat about it. So the food is delicious. And get this. So I was basically in retreat mode, right? Outside 12 hours, inside 12 hours. Outside 12 hours, inside 12 hours. Treatment, reflection, and experience in this beautiful place, and then a lot of fun books. If you want to approach this totally differently, get this. Vaidyagrama has all of this super fun stuff to do. I'm not kidding. You could be out and about. They've got socials, like a special dinner where everybody who wants to is given the opportunity to sing, right? They have cooking classes, right? So that's what brought that up for me. So they will actually teach you to be able to make the delicious food that you enjoy like crazy for here, which, one thing to mention, I don't know about you, but when I go out to eat, I often feel like I just ate a bunch of styrofoam. Do you know? It kind of tasted good maybe here, but then I didn't feel nourished, right? I didn't feel nurtured when I go out to eat most of the time. And the food here, it's got that, at least for me, it's got that feeling like you just ate something that your mom made you. Meaning, I swear, if they told me, hey, there's a special Ayurvedic herb that makes you feel like comfort, making our comfort food, we just throw that right in there. Yep. No, I'd believe it. I swear to God. No, I'd be like, wow, and I'm going to bring some of that home. So the food has a quality of care, and maybe, this might be a stretch, could we even say mindfulness about the way that all of the ingredients end up coming to you in your little silo of food, right? They have this thing that helps keep the food warm if you're not there. Why might you not be there when they deliver your breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Because you might be at one of the super fun classes or socials that they have. They do things like almost all the trees here have medicinal properties, and they make the medicine, I think. Dr. Ramanandan is going to tell us. But at least the potential is there for them to use the trees to be able to make medicine and all of that stuff. And they have tours, right, so people can learn about the botany and all of that stuff. So yeah, lots and lots of activities here, lots of things to do. They do a talk every single night, right? So a doctor will choose to lecture on an Ayurvedic principle that you can learn and be able to figure out how you are going to see if there's room in your life to bring a little bit of what you've experienced at Vaidyagrama home to you. All these beautiful things and opportunities here that I can't speak to personally because I sat on a porch. And I'll look forward to if and when the universe puts me here again, and maybe I'll do things differently and get out and about a little bit. So last but not least, because I want to be transparent, there was one thing here that did surprise me in a way, and that is there is no sound policy here, as in like noise. There's no sound policy here, and these are all stone floors, and there's a huge echo in basically all of the buildings. So first off, I'm happy to say that when I said, hey, I can't stand the blasting music, I'm like about to go bananas, I feel like I'm in a rave, and I actually came here to be in retreat in this beautiful place. Literally in the first 48 hours I was here, all of that got worked out, no music. So it's just to say, one, I get to report with utter happiness that when I had the request that I wanted us to be sensitive to noise and what that might mean if someone needs to sleep in the day because they were up in pain all night, or if someone's maybe meditating or self-reflecting or doing a self-awareness practice and looking to having the space to have realizations because they're not having to cook and run the rat race and go to work, right? All the things that people might be doing where peace and quiet is an essential element, that's not enforced here by the rule structure. And so if you want that experience like I did, you do have to ask for it. But yay, when you ask for it, you get it. So this isn't a bad thing, right? This is a perfectly fine thing because of the attitude of the doctors and staff at Vaidyagrama is patients first. Okay, so if you ever come here and you want that, you're going to get it. But you do have to ask for it. And that does sometimes mean that you're interacting with patients asking for it, because it's not automatic for the staff to be sensitive, right, to what is noise. And so that's just a little bit here. And when I come again, I'm going to bring noise-canceling headphones and all of that, right? And my recommendation would is to prepare the way that you might to go to an internet cafe. Meaning if you anticipate, I'm going to be so different than Unmani, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to be on the phone a lot, I'm going to be watching, TV and all that stuff, because there's nothing wrong with that. That's going to be great. I mean, you might be here for weeks. Why not? If you do, my recommendation is to bring headphones and to just bring the ability to enjoy everything that you want to enjoy, but in a way that doesn't take your experience and smush it in the face of all the other patients that are around you, right? Because this is an opportunity that most of us don't get. I mean, certainly not in our day-to-day lives. And I've wanted to treat it like a treasure. And how I've done that is not only the choices I made about how I spent my time, which again, you need to spend time if you do this in a way that nourishes you, which can look completely differently. But in the way that I nourish myself, I didn't want that to impede anything that another patient might be doing. All right. So thank you for being with me on this amazing journey with its twists and turns and surprises and joy. And I've just got a couple of days before I hop on a plane and go home. I'm so excited. Some of the doctors will, I was like, I'm so excited, and they're like, oh, Americans, wow. And I couldn't help it. They looked so mystified by how excited I was that I said, I love my life. Of course I'm excited to go home. I can't wait. So thank you again for being here and letting me share this with you. I look forward to the interviews, right, with the doctors and other people so that we can learn a little bit about what it's like not to be a patient here, but to be on the other side of the fence. I love you so much. Good health and joy to all of us. Healthy body, strong mind, happy heart. Love you.